welcome back to another episode of the Wealthy Lawyer Squad podcast. I want to go on a little journey with you really quick. I want you to think about if you were your most confident self, what would that look like? I want you to just envision for a moment that you walk into, your new job as a new lawyer or your first day of wills and trust class or Civ Pro, and you sit down and you may not know exactly what you're doing or what the experience is going to look like, but you feel confident. You walk in, you feel good about yourself, you feel strong, you feel, you know, like I said, you understand that you may not know everything, but how great would it feel to just walk in and have that confidence? Today, I want to talk to you about building self confidence, cultivating that self confidence. So, no matter what, when you're thrown into a new situation, whether it's, a new job and you're a new lawyer, or you've just made partner as a lawyer, or maybe you're starting law school, or you're in pre law and are trying to figure out what you want to do, whenever you're starting something new, this is when your ability beforehand and during this new experience to cultivate your self confidence is going to help you to excel and to feel really good and calm about the experience. Not 100% of the time necessarily, but to be able to pull from within and feel good about that experience and excited by something new and a new adventure rather than absolutely terrified or really stressed out. Now, it might be a mix of all of the above, but our goal is to try to build up that portion that is excited and feeling good and feeling confident and feeling empowered and feeling like a badass. That's what I want to build up. You may still have those feelings of fear and anxiety, and that's okay because we are all human beings going through a human experience. But I want you to be able to continuously improve upon and build upon focusing on the confidence and the feeling good. That is what I want to talk about today. So, a lot of people confuse the words confidence and self confidence. So, I want to start out kind of diving into what do those words mean and how are we going to be using them in this episode today? And how do I use them when I coach law students and new lawyers in the Wealthy Lawyer Squad? So, confidence is supported by evidence, external evidence, and your experience. So let me give a few examples of what confidence is. I am confident that I can drive a car. I am confident that I can start a law firm and I can build it and I can grow it because I've done it already. I am confident that I know how to brush my teeth. I'm confident that I know how to breathe. I'm confident that I have 2 kids. I'm a mom to these 2 boys. These are examples of confidence. They're supported by external evidence around us, and they are supported by experience. So I've been a mom now for almost 4 years. I've practiced law for 13 years. I've driven a car for more than half of my life at this point. These are examples of things that we know we're good at because we see the evidence. Now, take self-confidence on the other hand. Self-confidence is it's internal. It's a belief and a trust that we have in ourselves no matter what, no matter whether we're doing something like driving a car that we can do, almost seamlessly because we've done it for so long, or brushing our teeth, or parenting. That's never seamless, but you know what I'm saying. Let's compare that with something new. Let's compare that with, we're going into that first day of law school, or we're sitting to take the bar exam for the first time or the third time. We are starting a new job, or we're moving into from a small firm to a big firm, or we're transitioning practice areas. These are times that if you rely solely on confidence in your abilities, you are going to really shoot yourself in the foot and not serve yourself in the best way. And you're going to constantly spin your wheels and never feel likely never feel really good going into that situation because you're looking for external evidence that you're good at it. But if you've never gone to law school before, how can you be good at it? How can you have any idea what you're doing? Maybe you have a lawyer in the family, maybe you've read some books, maybe your law school did a really good job in orientation and preparing you, but even if you had all of those things and more, it's still new. So if you rely solely on external evidence and experience, you're going to find yourself wanting and lacking. And that's where I think a lot of the issues come in our mental health, in the law, in law school, in a new job as a lawyer. I mean, I can remember, back to being a new lawyer, and I talk to new lawyers all the time where the firm that you're working at or the partner almost expects you to know how to practice law. And you're kind of looking at him or her like, excuse me, I have literally been out of law school for 5 seconds. I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's okay because we all have to start somewhere. Or you go into law school and the professor's calling on you day one and asking you complicated legal questions and expecting you to, you obviously you've read the material, but expecting you to be able to digest it and then repeat back to that professor your legal analysis or your take on that case. That's going to be really hard, most likely for you in the beginning because it's new. So, the more that you can build up that self confidence and that belief and trust in yourself, that even if you're doing something new, even if you're doing something scary, you know yourself and you know that you're smart and intelligent and hardworking and that you will be able to figure it out. That is such a game changer in that experience because you will be able to sit back, you'll be able to say, okay, I may not know this new area of law that I'm moving into, or I may not know how to practice law at all because I'm new. And it can help to look to some of the external experiences. Like I mentioned, if you're starting law school and you've read some books or you've done some internships even before law school, you can draw upon those things. It's not that drawing upon the external evidence is bad by any means, but it's not enough for you to feel good. You need to be able to feel that self confidence in the beginning of something, trying something new, trying something scary. You need to be able to cultivate that. And I strongly believe that if you can cultivate that, and I work with my students all the time on this in the Wealthy Lawyer Squad, if you're able to cultivate that self-confidence, it will propel you forward when you try these new things. When you're open to new experiences, when you're excited to try something new, when you kind of flip the script of oh my God, this is a new job and I don't know how the partners are going to be. And I don't know, the other associates, how they're going to act and how they're going to treat me. And oh my God, what if these clients are really, tough and demanding? All of that might be valid. But what if you are able to draw upon this inner self confidence? So when you go into those situations, you say, all of that might be true. Maybe I will be working with difficult partners. Maybe the associates aren't going to be really friendly, or maybe they are right away. Maybe the clients will be demanding. Very likely they will. But if you're able to look inside of yourself and say, I am smart, I am intelligent, I believe in myself, I believe in my abilities, and the fact that I am hardworking and I will figure it out and I will fail and that's okay. I think that is one of the biggest things that is not talked about in the law. In law school, starting at the very beginning, we're trained to almost look for all of the issues and find out, all the pitfalls. And that is important to know how to do that when you're working with clients and you're representing them and you're doing the best job possible for them. It's good to know the pitfalls and say, hey, let's think about down the road if you start this business with a partner, if you don't have something in place that says, what happens if one of you decide to split up, whatever it is. It's important that you think like that, but it's also important that you recognize that trying new things and failing is a part of being successful. And I don't think that is celebrated in the law that much. And I think that is part of, perfectionism is a whole other episode that I'm going to do. I think we do tend to become perfectionists, whether it's because we're A type or whatever it is, but it's a in my opinion, a recipe for bad mental health in the law when we think that we have to be perfect and we think that we can never fail. It's just not foreseeable. It's not reasonable. All you look around at, all the things in your home or in your office that were created, electricity, air conditioning, lights, your phone. Don't you think that the people that created those things failed over and over and over and over again? And the trick is you can't let that failure knock you down. You have to be able to draw from within, regardless of the experience and regardless of the skills, and build upon it as you build through as you go through law school. The usually the first year is the hardest, and then you can start feeling confident because you've completed your first year or your first semester, and confidence is great, but I want you to work on what we're going to talk about and work through, my formula for creating self-confidence in this episode. This is what I want you to start doing now. So even before you can look to skills and experience, I want you to be able to cultivate that self-confidence within. So, we're going to talk about one of the ways that I love to coach students in the Wealthy Lawyer Squad. And whether it's people who are pre law or law students in the Law Student Success Blueprint or new lawyers in the Lawyer Success Blueprint, this model, this formula has been instrumental in helping students overcome issues like not having enough self confidence or limiting beliefs or perfectionism or fear of failure, fill in the blank, whatever it is. And I use this all the time too. When I am working through something and I want to create a certain result or I want to feel a certain way about something in my life, whether it's, when I started the law firm with my best friend and that created a whole new set of, challenges that we had to overcome together, or becoming a new mom or whatever it is, I use this formula all the time. So I want you to think about this formula and think about how you could apply this to your own life. And this is again something that we do all the time in the squad. So we're going to think about this in a certain way with a model. So this is the model. This is the formula. Your circumstances create your thoughts. Your thoughts produce your feelings then generate your actions, and your actions cause results. Now, if you are not driving or walking, if you're sitting down and listening to this podcast, I highly recommend that you write this down on a piece of paper. And because I can't directly coach you through this podcast episode, I want you to be able to do some self coaching on yourself so you can work through whatever issue it is. If you want to work through self confidence, which is the reason I even wanted to do this episode, it's coming up constantly within the squad. People want to feel more confident, they want to feel good as they move through their legal career. So if you can write this down, again, it's circumstances. So you write circumstances in a line. Circumstances create your thoughts then produce your feelings then generate your action or your inaction, and then the action causes the results. And as you can see, this all works together. Each piece is interrelated. So let's start with circumstances. So your circumstances is something that you cannot change. The sky is blue today. I have my own law firm. I have two boys. Those are all things that are facts. No, I could decide to not have a law firm anymore. Can't get rid of the kids that they're with me. They're stuck with me, luckily. Love being stuck with them. But you see what I'm saying? The circumstance is a neutral thing. Maybe the circumstance is you have started a new job at a law firm or you have just started law school. That's the circumstance. Now, we tend to assign feelings and thoughts and actions around that, thinking that all of that are finite things. But the reality is that the circumstances are what is, the truth. So it's something I always say to my students that, would be able to hold up in court of law. It's something where you can look to facts to see, whatever it is. So let's go with I've started a new job at a law firm. Okay, that's the circumstance. Now, the thoughts is what's going on within your head. It's the endless loop that we tend to tell ourselves and talk to ourselves in that circumstance. So you started a new job at a law firm, and maybe your thoughts are, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. What am I doing here? I don't deserve this amount of money. Maybe that's a thought that you're going through. I certainly had that thought when I went into big law, and that was a whole thing I had to work through myself. Maybe your thought is, I'm completely overwhelmed. Or you feel like an imposter. You're feeling very much so that someone's going to figure out that you don't know what you're doing. Those are the thoughts that tend to go in a loop in our head. Now, that is something that can be changed within this formula. The circumstance, we can change jobs, we can change things, but in this moment, for purposes of this model, it's something that isn't changing, and it's something that we want to work through. But you can change the thoughts in your head. You can decide that you want to think differently. So you can decide, maybe I don't want to feel, that I don't belong. Maybe you come up with a new thought. The thought is probably not going to be, I am the best lawyer in the entire world, because you're new, you're still learning. That thought isn't reasonable. That thought may not make sense. Maybe you will become the best lawyer, or the best lawyer that you can be. But in this moment, the thought is, okay, you can't go from I have no idea what I'm doing to I'm a total, I know everything. Maybe the thought is, I am new and I'm learning, and that's okay. Or maybe the thought is, even though I am a new lawyer and this is a new job, I provide value through what I do within this firm. Or maybe the thought is, I have a lot of, new cases and a lot of things to work on, but I know that I have faith in myself and I will get it done. I don't know necessarily how I'll get it done. These are examples of ways that you can start to say, okay, what is my current thought and what do I want my thought to be? So when I started my law firm, for example, even before I started the firm, my thought, and I've said this on prior episodes, was, who the heck am I to start a law firm? And that was on a loop in my head. Who the heck am I to start a law firm? Da 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 da. Now, here's a great example. If I had looked at the external evidence, there was certainly a lot of external evidence that I absolutely had what it took to start a law firm. I'd been practicing at that point for 12 years, exclusively in one area of law that I knew very, very well, and I still know very, very well. I had been at one of the biggest law firms in the world. I had taught classes at law schools on this topic. I If I had looked to the external, that should have been enough. But what I was lacking was that self confidence, that inner knowing of, even if it was going to be new and scary, it's something that I could figure out. And so I had to shift my thoughts, and I had to work and journal and really play with this model to be, okay, think about, what do I want my new thoughts to be? And as time has gone on, I've changed those thoughts from who the heck am I to I am worthy of starting a law firm. I have a lot of experience. I will bring a lot of value to my clients. I will create a law firm that will provide immense value to our community. And I had to shift my thoughts in that loop that was going on in my head. Now, the next part of this formula is feelings. So, feelings are really vibrations in your body that are being created by those thoughts. So, the who the heck am I thought, or the I don't feel confident, I feel like an imposter in this new job thought, creates a feeling in our bodies. So I want you to think about whatever the thought is that you are, writing down or thinking about in this model. I want you to think about, how does it make you feel? So often when I have clients who are saying they don't feel confident, they don't feel self-confidence, they don't feel like they belong, I then go to, what feelings is that bringing up inside of you? And a lot of times the feelings are things like shame, or embarrassment, or stress, or anxiety. And it's manifesting in their body in a way that is not serving them. It's not serving them. It's not enabling them to become a better lawyer. Sometimes they just get completely blanked out. Maybe the partner is explaining something to them, and because they feel like they don't belong and they're not worthy, their brain is just shutting down, and they're not able to learn, and they're not able to take in that information. And that is not the way to continue to become a better attorney, if we're just shutting down. And so when I'm working with a client who's experiencing this, I want them to think about, okay, what is the thought that we want to have instead of the existing thought? And then how do we want that thought to make us feel? So rather than that grief or that shame or that stress or that whatever it is, fill in the blank for you, from that thought of I'm not enough, I'm not worthy. If your thought is, this is hard, this is new, but I'm smart and I'll figure it out, how does that make you feel rather than the grief or the shame or the stress, anxiety? Does it make you feel empowered? Does it make you feel excited? Does it make you feel confident? You get to even decide, okay, here's the thought I want, and then how do I want that thought to make me feel? Or reverse engineer it. Here's how I want to feel. What thought do I need to believe in my body, in my head to have that feeling? Do you see how it all kind of works together? And I love when I'm able to actually work with someone on this. It's a little different when we're sitting on a podcast because I don't know your exact issue or your exact thing that you're struggling with or what you want to change, but I hope that you're able to do some self-coaching and then always reach out. I'll put my link in the show notes to join an info session to learn more about the squad so we can work together as well. Now, the next thing on the chart, if you wrote it down and if you're paying attention, is actions. So let's go back to the example of I don't feel confident in this new job. I feel like an imposter. I'm always scared. That then leads to feelings of, embarrassment, shame, stress, anxiety. How is that then causing you to act? Now, is that causing you to, like I said, maybe shut down? Is it causing you to not ask questions in a meeting? Is it causing you to not volunteer to work on a certain case or a certain matter? Is it causing you to maybe, kind of check out throughout the day and just hop on your phone and go on social media? So then you're not meeting your billable hour requirements, which then gets into the results side. So that's next. What are the actions that you're taking or the inactions? Now, again, we can reverse engineer it. If the action is, I want to raise my hand in a meeting in this new job. I want to volunteer for cases. I want to be able to ask intelligent questions when I'm meeting one on one with a partner about something, and maybe he or she is giving me hopefully constructive criticism. I mean, I think one of the reasons we have mental health issues in the law is it's not always constructive, and oftentimes we're dealing with difficult partners. I hope that's not the case for you. But let's say you're getting constructive criticism and you're not able to take that in because you're just constantly, sitting there with that loop of I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. As opposed to, wow, this is an opportunity for me to learn and for me to grow and for me to take in this information so I can continue to better myself as an attorney. How much greater would that be? There's a reason the partner wants you, I hope, to become better because then you'll be able to serve the clients more effectively. You'll be able to bill more. They'll be able to charge more for your time as you move up the ranks in the law firm. Presumably that's the goal for that partner because they want you to contribute to the success of the team. And so if you're able to ask informed questions and not feel scared to ask questions, but if you are able to put aside, okay, I feel the fear, but I feel, you know, that I'm going to take something from this conversation if I'm able to put that aside and say again to myself, I bring value to this team by asking these questions. I bring value to this team. How incredible would that be if that's not already happening for you? And maybe, the inaction, like I said, is you're kind of zoning out or you are, scrolling on social media during the day, you're procrastinating. That comes up a lot when I coach clients too, that they procrastinate and we try to drill down on why is the procrastinating happening? What feelings and thoughts are occurring before the procrastination? See how this is why this formula truly is magic. I use it on myself all the time because you can literally reverse engineer your entire life. What I also like about this formula is, I think it's sometimes very easy to look at people around us and look at our circumstances and kind of play the victim. Oh, I have this new job and the partner's a jerk. Or I just started law school and my law school didn't give me enough support, didn't give me enough information. Or, it really stinks that there's no lawyers in my family and I'm starting from scratch. Those are all things we can tell ourselves, but none of those things serve us if we're able to take accountability for the things that happen in our lives, the actions, the results, the thoughts, the feelings, and even the circumstances that we put ourselves in, obviously there's exceptions, to where you're born and what family you're born into and all of that. And things happen. Life can be really shitty sometimes. But when we're able to take accountability and ownership over our life, once I figured that out personally, it helped me to work through so many things and really overcome blaming. It's not about blaming anyone else. It's about taking accountability and saying, you know what? I get to dictate what happens in my life. I get to dictate how I feel about it. And I get to dictate the results and, what actually occurs in my life. So that leads into the final piece, the results. So maybe the result is right now that you're not hitting your billable requirement, or the result is that you didn't do as well, on your finals as you had anticipated, or the result is that you didn't pass the bar exam or you did pass the bar exam. Those are examples of results. And if you're not happy with the results in your life, and this is not just, based on the legal field, maybe you're not happy with your weight or the relationship that you're in, or you're not happy with your relationship with yourself, whatever it is, this is a great way to really take ownership and accountability of your life and of who you are becoming as you move through law school, as you move through your law career. Now, this is just an example of the things that we work on in the Wealthy Lawyer Squad. So, as you can see, the program and the community is very much based on, let's become the best versions of ourselves that we can be. Let's live and have a law career and a law school experience that feels good and that is actually aligned with who we are as human beings and who we want to become. I think that, that is the new way, in my opinion, to practice law. You get to do things on your own terms and you get to build it out the way that you want to. And I want people to know that starting in law school and then as they move through their career. And that's why I created this community, because this type of work is so needed in our legal industry. I've talked about this so many times, but the statistics they're bad. They're really bad. Mental health statistics are awful. The amount of people who are stressed or depressed or dealing with mental health or substance abuse issues, suicide, it really is, the numbers are startling and they are getting worse. They're not getting better. And I am not a therapist. I say this all the time. I'm not a mental health professional, but I am someone who knows how to work with people and coach them to become the best version of themselves. And that is what I want for each and every one of you, whether you're in the squad or not, whether you have a therapist, a coach, or both. I always have both. I think that it's truly the way to start to get, the mental health of the law to be better. We want everyone to succeed. The American Bar Association has come up with initiatives, but I think when it really boils down to is maybe not doing things the way that it's always been done, and really each of us taking ownership over our own careers and our own lives, and knowing that our life outside of law is allowed and it should be beautiful and celebrated and not something that we kind of tuck aside and bring out on the weekends. In my opinion, when I started becoming and showing my true self in my law career, it made me such a better attorney. It enabled me to leave big law and start my own firm and work with my best friend. It enabled me to create this Wealthy Lawyer Squad community and the podcast and so much more. And that is what I want for each and every one of you. I want you to have fulfilled, joyful, peaceful, exciting, empowered law careers. And so, if you're interested in meeting, I'm going to put again the link in the show notes for an info session all about the Wealthy Lawyer Squad. We have one-to-one group, one-to-one coaching, group coaching. We have monthly yoga sessions. We have a money and mindset book club, and so much more. I mean, we have the programs created exclusively for law students and new lawyers that are specifically designed for the things that you're going through in your journey. And I love it. I love what I do, both in the law, legal practice and my coaching side. And that's what I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you took something from this conversation and the formula that you're able to apply to your life. If you really enjoyed it, subscribe, share with a friend, maybe someone who's about to start law school or who just started their law career. And I can't wait to see you all again. Thank you so much. Bye.